waiting room. You didn't choose to be here. The chair is plastic. The light is fluorescent. The magazine on the little table is from 2019. You've been here a while. Long enough to memorize the ceiling. Long enough to watch other people get called. One by one, they stand up. They straighten their clothes. They walk through the door, and their lives begin. Or that's what it looks like from the chair. But your name hasn't been called. And you're starting to wonder, quietly, if it's on the list at all. This is what your 20s feel like. And nobody warned you. Not the job, not the city, not the money. The waiting. You're waiting for the job that feels like the one. The person. The city. The moment the door finally opens and your real life starts. That's the feeling this episode is about. Not the job, the waiting. But what if you've misunderstood what you're waiting for? By the end, you'll know what to do with a Tuesday that isn't a warm-up for anything, because it's the only one there is. This is Mindscape Philosophy. Today, why your 20s feel like a waiting room. Let's start with the script. You were handed it before you could read. School, then more school. Good grades, the right college, then the job, then the partner, then the house, then the kids. And at the end of all of it, the reward, happy. Every step was a step toward the arrival, the real life, the one that starts later. Your 20s were never meant to be lived. They were meant to be a hallway you walked through, fast, with your head down. So you did what you were told. You got the grades, you got the degree, maybe you got the job. And then you looked up, and the hallway had only gotten longer. It feels like a personal failure. But the data shows it's actually a modern epidemic. A 2017 LinkedIn survey of 6,000 people aged 25 to 33 reported that 75% had hit a quarter-life crisis, self-reported but still, 3 out of 4. Average age of onset, 27. Most of them said they didn't know what to do next. The midlife crisis gets the movies and the red convertible. But some studies put it at only 10 to 20% of people. The crisis we talk about far less often can arrive much earlier, in your 20s. And the waiting room has a clock on the wall. That's the worst part, because you can see everyone else's time moving faster than yours. The friend who's engaged, the one who bought the house, the one promoted at 24, the one traveling somewhere you can't afford. You scroll past them, and the same sentence repeats itself, quiet and automatic. I'm behind. Not wrong, behind. Like everyone got a head start, and nobody told you the race had started. Someone put it exactly right in a comment. The best part of your 20s is you get to choose what you do with the rest of your life. The worst part is that you have to choose. 2,500 people liked that comment, because it's not a joke. It's the whole thing. And there's a second reason the room is unbearable. Too many doors. You can do anything. That's what they tell you. You can be anything. And your phone proves it. 10,000 lives broadcast into your palm every single day. Every one of them better than yours. One famous study suggested the trap. People offered 6 options chose more often than people offered 24. More choices can mean fewer decisions. So you freeze. Because choosing one door feels like killing the other 9,999. So you choose nothing. And the waiting room wins. And then, some ordinary Tuesday, the question arrives. It's not dramatic. It just shows up patient, like it's been waiting for you to sit still long enough. Is this what my life is? Wake up. Commute. Work. Commute, 45 minutes of free time. Sleep. Repeat. This is not what I was promised. This is the exact moment the arrival myth breaks. And here's the thing nobody says. That breaking is not the problem. It's the first true thing that's happened to you in years. The crisis isn't a bug. It's the room going quiet so you can finally hear yourself think. We spent the last 2 episodes with the man who rolls the boulder. Camus asked the first question, is life worth living? There's another man who asked the second one, the one you're living right now. When does mine start? Jean-Paul Sartre, a French writer who was drafted into a war, captured, and spent 9 months in a prisoner of war camp, then came home, and a few years later wrote the sentence that cuts this room open. Existence precedes essence. It means there was never a blueprint for your life, and there's no manager coming to tell you how to build it. No purpose sealed in an envelope, waiting somewhere for you to find it. You exist first, then you make yourself. Read that again in the chair. You are not waiting to find out who you are. You are making who you are. Right now, without knowing how it turns out. There is no answer you've been missing. There's only the one you're building. And that freedom is heavy. Sartre's word for it, condemned. We are condemned to be free. Condemned. Because nobody is coming to call your name. No authority, no script, no correct answer. Just you, the chair, and the choice. That's the waiting room, properly named. Not the chair, not the clock, the waiting. You're waiting for a permission that was never going to come, because there's no one left with the authority to give it. So now look at the room again, with Sartre's eyes. The waiting room has no receptionist, no list, nobody coming to call your name. It was never a waiting room at all. It's just a room. It's your life, already happening, and the only thing that ever made it feel like waiting was the belief that it was supposed to start later. That belief is the arrival myth, and the myth is the trap, not the room, the myth. The idea that the real life is somewhere else, later, after the next thing, after the job, after the partner, after the house. There is always a next thing. That's how the myth never lets you arrive. And the part of you that's still waiting isn't lazy. It's afraid. Because if there's no arrival, then the life you have right now, the commute, the desk, the afternoon, is the real one. And that means you have to actually live it. It's easier to wait for a life than to live one. But here's the strange gift. The moment you stop waiting, the room stops being a waiting room. The chair is just a chair. The light is just light. And the Tuesday you've been treating as a holding pattern, it's the life. So here's the part where it stops being philosophy and starts being your actual day. What do you actually do once you've stood up? 2 questions, that's all it takes. Question 1, what am I waiting for? Name the door. The job, the person, the city, the someday? Say it out loud. You can't stop waiting for a door you've never named. Question 2, what would I do this year if I knew the door never opens? Not, what would I do if I won? Not, what's my dream job? What would I do with the actual, ordinary fluorescent afternoon I already have if I knew nothing better was coming? That answer is your life. The rest was the wait. And here's the thing the room hides from you. When you're waiting for later, you miss the only time that's real, which is now. You've been breathing your whole life and never noticed a single breath. Each one is slightly different. Each one is the only one you get. And now you might be thinking, easy for you to say, I'm 26 and unemployed, or 28 and heartbroken, or 29 and back in my childhood bedroom. The room is real. I'm not asking you to like the room. I'm asking you to notice something about it. The room is real, but the belief that your life only begins after you escape it, that part is a story. You can't always change the job, the money, the city, but you can stop waiting for them to change you. That's the freedom Sartre meant. Not freedom from your circumstances, the uncomfortable freedom to choose what you do within them. And one more thing, you are not in that room alone. Everyone you're envying is in it too. The engaged friend, the promoted friend, the one who bought the house. They're just better at smiling when the receptionist never calls. You only ever see the highlight reel, never the waiting room. A man in a forum wrote, at 28, I feel like I've spent my entire adult life trying to survive. A woman wrote, at 27, I felt like I had a lot more time at 21, but so much happens by 29. They're all waiting. That's the secret. Most of them don't have it figured out either. Nobody's door opened. They just stopped waiting for it to. Sartre said it in one breath. We are condemned to be free, but condemned is only half the sentence. The other half is free. And that's the whole gift. You can stop waiting today. Not when you're qualified, not when you're ready, not when the door opens. Now, you are not in a waiting room. You are in your life. It started without you noticing. It is happening right now, this Tuesday, in this room, and the door you've been waiting for. It was never locked. That's Mindscape philosophy. And next, the hardest question anyone ever asked. Would you relive this week, forever? That's next on Mindscape philosophy. The eternal return.